And good evening and welcome to our East Brunswick Council meeting for September 11th, 2023. Will everyone please rise as we pledge allegiance to our nation? Remain standing for a moment of silence as we reflect on our own remembrance of 9/11 22 years ago. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And Township Clerk, can you call roll for attendance and read our statement of adequate notice?
Councilmember Hall.
Here.
Councilman Wendell.
Here.
Councilwoman Winston.
Here.
Councilwoman Zambicki.
Here.
Council President McAvoy.
Here.
Also present, Mayor Brad Cohen.
Here.
Administrator Joseph Cusculo.
Here.
Township Attorney Anthony Iacoca.
Here.
And Deputy Clerk Lauren Morris. Here. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, by specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the bulletin board located in the main lobby of the East Brunswick Municipal Building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel newspapers, posting a copy on the township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the township clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Thank you. May I have a motion for resolution number 23-249, adopting our meeting minutes from August 28th, 2023?
Move to adopt.
Second,
Second.
any clarification on these minutes? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall.
Abstain.
Councilman Wendell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki.
Yes.
Council President McAvoy.
Yes. Tonight, we have our annual audit presentation for the year 2022. Please welcome Mr. Scott Cleland, and he's from the firm of PKF O'Connor Davies. Mr. Cleland, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Council President, Mayor, and members of the Township Council. I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight to discuss the results of the 2022 fiscal year audit. Before I do so, I want to thank the Finance Department and Joe for all their time and effort. They help us out quite a bit during the audit process. We spent a lot of time with CFO Angel, Sylvia, and Vivian, and they are very responsive to all of our requests, and usually once a week we're on the phone trying to go through issues and making sure everything gets done. So I do want to thank them, and again, your audit is done, it's complete. It seems like we're going to be in September every year, only from the perspective of we're still every year waiting for late filings from the state regarding the pension reports as well as the health benefit reports. The audit deadline is normally June 30th, but it was extended for the third or fourth consecutive year till September 30th. So your report will be filed on time. I believe you got a copy of it emailed or sent to you over the weekend. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask as I go through the presentation. The most important part from a state perspective is your opinion. The audit opinion is unmodified, which is a clean opinion, as it has been in the last couple of years. When we come in and do the audit, we usually break it down into two pieces. We come in and look at an interim period where we take a look at your internal controls, where we spend time looking at your cash receipts and revenues, your purchasing and accounts payable, as well as your payroll area. We also are required to look at certain grants that are above certain thresholds, and during the audit this year, we looked at the ARP program, which was the Recovery Act money, which in your case, similar to most municipalities in the state, were used for lost revenue type items. I'm happy to report from all the testing we performed, we did not find anything that would raise up to a significant deficiency or material finding. There are 3 items that will be brought before you in a corrective action plan, none of which we deem to be significant. Also, from looking at the ARP federal program, we did not identify anything in that program that was of non-compliance, so that's a good news as well that those funds were utilized in accordance with the standards. From a financial position, You do have a lot of utility funds, and your current fund is a significant fund for a municipality. The good news is your revenues exceeded what you had budgeted. You had a very, very good financial year, and your underlying fund balance increased quite a bit from the prior year, of which you continue to use some of that in a subsequent year's budget, which is prudent to do so. And also, your utility funds have come back quite a bit from where we were during the COVID period. The only one that seems to be lagging a little bit behind revenues would be your parking utility. Swim pools come back nicely from looking at the last 5 years. So the only one that's really a little bit lagging is the parking utility, but all the other ones are doing very, very well post-COVID. With that, again, I want to thank everyone for their assistance during the audit process. Very good audit, very clean audit, and something you should be very happy with. And with that, would be happy to open up to any questions you may have.
During the audit, we noted, verbatim,
Okay, you're looking at the findings. You're,
noted the
yep.
township did not file the October 2022 monthly dog report with the state of New Jersey. How serious of a,
Not very serious. It's required to be submitted. It's a compliance checklist we have to fill out. If we have an exception, we have to donate, we have to note it, but not significant at all.
because you know, the dog population with regard to residents owning dogs, I'm going to say in my neighborhood, at least doubled
Absolutely,
during the COVID period.
absolutely.
And here we are in the post-COVID period, and you still have to take care of your dogs. I want to make sure that we're doing well there.
Yep.
With regard to that, no, I'll move down. I'll move down. We suggest that the township fund unfunded bond ordinances through the budget process as noted above. How significant is this?
You funded it, so you had the money to do so, just the process was a little bit different than really what it should be. You funded it from money that was set aside in a reserve for debt service, which is okay, but that should really flow into the current fund budget as a revenue, offset by the appropriation to fund that ordinance. So it was just the process should be changed a little bit going forward. But the money was there, the money was utilized properly to handle the ordinance.
Thank you. Anyone else with anything?
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Move on to ordinance number 23-25. Clerk, would you please read?
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 102, Fire Safety of the Code of the Township of East Brunswick to add identifiers to all fire department connections.
We have a motion.
So move.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Let me open this up to the public on this issue and this issue only. Anyone wishing to talk to the chair? We'll close the public portion. Council, any final comments? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
We'll now move on to our reports section of the meeting. Mayor Cohn.
Thank you, Council President. A couple of things. First, I want to thank the Finance Department for putting together and working with our auditors to give us such a clean report, something we're frankly kind of getting used to you under Angel, and I think that's a testament to you and to your department. But more importantly, it gives the opportunity to the public to know that we're being good stewards of their money and making sure that we are not doing anything other than what's absolutely required under the law, and we hold everybody to that high standard, and you're meeting it. So I want to thank you and all of those in your department that help us get there. Also, I wanted to remind people again, like I did last time, that the final tax bill for 2023 will be going out the end of September. As most of you recall, the third quarter payment was an estimate because we did not have from the county the tax rate for the schools or for the county which we have to bill for, even though it's their bill. So we estimated a 2% increase in that for the year in that third quarter bill. As it turns out, when the money and the information from the county did come to us, it turned out, like the town, that there was virtually no increase in taxes from the schools and no increase from the county. So the tax rate went up 0.3% overall, which is less than 1%, and amounts to about an $11 increase for the average taxpayer, or less than $1 a month. So since we overbilled the third quarter, the fourth quarter payment will make up for that. So it should be a reduction compared to what your bills had been in order to make the tax rate flat. So that's good news. And finally, as you see in front of you this evening, and what you'll be voting on tonight, is the budget for refuse, which is a combination of the solid waste and recycling contract that ends the end of this year. Our goals in producing a new contract and producing and providing for this service is to do two things. One, to keep the community clean. I mean, at the end of the day, that is what we want to do. And to resolve what has been a menacing problem for the last almost 2 years, which is the missed pickups that we get calls about all the time. And when we've investigated the causes of that, it happens most frequently during schedule changes, when we go from the once a week to the twice a week and back to the once a week. That is a time that the company just has a difficult time adjusting their staffing needs. Staffing shortages, like every industry, has certainly hit this industry as well. And the fact that because we do bulk pickup and just pick it up either once a week during the once a week pickup or the second pickup when it's twice a week, there's no control over what's going to be left out. So trucks can sometimes fill up well in advance of finishing an area, run up to the landfill and not make it back in time, again, causing missed pickups. So clean community, making sure that we get to all the pickups and not have this chronic problem of lack of pickups. As many people know, there's consolidation in the industry. Virtually no companies left really want to do municipal business. Most would prefer that they be hired privately, like some of our neighboring communities where people have to hire their own refuse. And then there's other towns that do it themselves. If we were to move into that direction, something we did consider, we have to ramp up. There's about 8 trucks that we would need. They're $450,000 each, and an 18-month period of time to get them. We would have to get staff. We would need to find a facility to house trucks that size. So the massive amount of money to build up our own service would be really make it a non-starter. So when we put out the contract, we spoke to the companies, and they asked that we consider several things. One, again, because of their staffing problems, they prefer that we either go with a once-a-week pickup all year or a twice-a-week pickup all year. Changing is more difficult for them than sticking with one schedule. They asked that we move to a scheduled pickup for bulk. This way they could fill a truck and know exactly how much of the truck is going to be filled, so that there's less likely that they're going to be surprised by more bulk pickup than they anticipated, and so it becomes an easier thing for them to provide. Many towns, as you know, don't provide that service at all, and if you do, you must pay extra. And then the last thing, of course, was the issue with leaves. We have no problem picking up bag leaves, but the problem with the loose leaves is the chronic complaints, many of which we get from the community about the messiness of the roads, the fact that it is unsafe, narrows roads. Most people do not put it at the edge of their property, but end up putting it in the streets. Police have told us that it's a safety issue for first responders. They've also told us there's a risk of cars parking on leaves and igniting fires because of the exhaust is so, the heat level is so high. That has been a problem in other towns, not as much here, but a potential problem. Our DPW department now under the new DEP our DPW department, under the new DPW regulations, must pick up leaves within 7 days of their notification to the town that they're going to do that. And we're just having a hard enough time being able to keep to the schedule that we provide, and now to be forced to do that by the state makes it impossible for us to do without doubling the size of the staff that we already have going out to do that. So between the complaints from residents, the issues of safety, and the fact that we cannot possibly meet the DEP guidelines without spending more money to hire more staff, which ultimately affects taxpayers because you have to pay for that. We will pick up bag leaves. That'll be an unlimited amount of bags that we'll provide for free. It will keep the community cleaner. We're less likely to block up the storm drains, and is a safer way of collecting leaves. If you read just today in the patch, South Brunswick is also running into a problem with their garbage pickup, to the point that because of all these added costs, they will be facing a 7% increase in municipal property taxes. They got approval from the state to go above the statutory cap, primarily because of the massive increase in refuse costs. As you know, you got a contract in front of you. What we're asking you to consider is a twice-a-week pickup for everybody. Everybody will be either on a Monday, Thursday, or a Tuesday, Friday schedule for their solid waste. The recycling will be every other week on Wednesday. This alleviates the need for picking up garbage on weekends. Everybody will be given a new bin. You'll have an example of that right in front of you. That's from Woodbridge, but it's a 96-gallon bin, one for recycling, one for solid waste. If you're elderly or disabled and feel that that is too big for you to be able to maneuver, you will have smaller bins available to you as well for garbage, so you'll have that option. The bigger bins, as you notice, all have tops, and one of the things that's important about that is that it allows for us to not have water accumulate in garbage. As you know, the contract that you're asked to look at tonight is only for carting the garbage. It has nothing to do with the fact that when you get up to the landfill, we pay tipping fees based on the weight of the garbage. And most people have said that when they switched over from the traditional garbage cans to the bins with tops, there's a 20% reduction in the tipping fees because water weighs things down, and we're basically paying to dump water, which is ridiculous and a waste of money. As far as and those will all be available and ordered if you approve the contract for the bond, will be ordered and will be given to people as soon as they come in, and given to them by the company. The town does not have to do that. The contract, as you see, is a $1.1 million increase over what we're presently paying, and it goes up each year, just like the present contract goes up each year. So the 1.1 does represent an increase. However, a good portion of that is because we're going from once a week to twice a week. So again, gives people the opportunity to not have garbage sitting around, and gets rid of the, hopefully by using these trucks, which are sidearm trucks, so they can pick up a larger amount of garbage. They require much less staff. So as a result, the staffing need issue becomes less of a problem, and hopefully by doing this, we end up with less missed pickups, which again was our objective. The 1.1 million, we believe that part of that can be covered by the $300,000 a year in savings from the loose leaf pickup that we will not be doing. That's the present cost. If we continue and were to provide that for people next year, it wouldn't be $300,000. It would be more than that, because we're going to have to double the staff to be able to meet the demands that the DEP puts on us. So you would have to add multiple staff members to that, which probably will close to double the cost of doing that work. We also believe that there's new revenues coming in the next year that will help offset some of that $1.1 million cost, so that the end and net result to the taxpayers should be minimal. And that was the goal here, to provide as good or better service than you had before without a increase. And that's basically the mantra that we use as a township in general when it comes to all the things we do. There is a delicate balance between trying to keep taxes under control and manageable and providing services. And we strike that balance every year. Sometimes things need to go up, sometimes they need to go down, but at the end of the day, I think that we strike a fairly good balance between what we charge over the last 6 years. Our municipal budget, the only thing that we have control over, has gone up less than 1% per year. So I think that we're doing a good job, just like the auditor said, of being stewards of the township's tax dollars. So with that being said, I'm hoping that you support the contract as it's being presented tonight, and support the bond that we're going to need to go out in order to purchase the bins. That bond will be paid back over the next 5 years.
Thank you, Mayor. Before we move to our business administrator, Mr. Criscuolo, are there any comments or questions you might have on this particular issue? This one is surfacing around the community.
Well, actually,
Yes.
I think one of the things we have to look at is we only had one bid come in as well. So there's not a whole lot of options. But in looking at that article from the patch, I think we're pretty lucky that we're not seeing a 7% or a significant increase. So I think we kind of dodged a bullet on that one, for sure.
With regard to bags, Mayor, is there a limit on how many bags?
Bags are free, and there's no limit. Many other towns do make you pay for that. We will not be doing that. There are also a lot of things that people can do to mitigate against that. A lot of experts in the field feel that you can mulch leaves, and it provides great fertilizer to the ground. You don't need to bag all of them. We've checked with several of the landscapers. It's a minimal increase if you wanted them to do that for you. But we will not make it difficult to get bags or make it a burden in terms of a cost. It will be free.
And everything that you spoke of will begin in January of 2024?
Correct. This year, we're still in the present contract, so we'll be continuing the service we've been providing. The services of the twice-a-week pickups and the bulk needing to be scheduled and the bag leaves would be for 2024.
I recommended and suggested that we bring the garbage can to the courtroom so that you can get a visual on the size of the garbage can. To my knowledge, the amount of garbage that can be put into this particular can is 4 times the whatever you put in your normal garbage can. So it's going to be able to handle that much. What if the residents do want a second bin?
One bin per person.
So-
Because we're going with a much larger bin and we're picking it up twice a week. So it's one bin for each person, one for your recycling, one for solid waste.
And the data that you recovered,
We've gone to several towns that have used these. They rarely get, if any, a call for the need for another bin. And fortunately for us, we have a really good recycling center here. So if there's really the need, you had a major party or something like that, and you just can't wait to the second pickup of the week to get your garbage, you could bring it there. Not a lot of other towns have as good of a recycling center as ours. So we'll be looking to continue to use that and to funnel people there when they have the need. But it's something that we don't want to give up. And if anything, we might look to increase some of the hours there to make it more convenient. But we're very lucky in having that here. And I think that for most folks, it has helped keep the town clean, which again brings us back to the whole reason for how we think about refuse pickup. If people didn't have that option in towns that don't have these type of facilities, you see a lot of illegal dumping, and we don't see that here. So, and I think that's in large part because we have these mechanisms to get rid of solid waste and recycling.
Thank you, Mayor Cohen. Mr. Crisculo, our business administrator.
Yes, just real quick. Dan Losek is here. I'd like to personally thank Dan for this journey. Certainly learned a lot. Being the second time that we're going through this process, Dan and I together, he did a lot of extensive research. Also like to thank Woodbridge Township, who's very willing to share their experience with their trash hauling and so on. Matter of fact, the cans that we borrowed from Woodbridge, they were more than happy to lend them to us, and Dan's staff went up there and got them and so on. We actually, the mayor, Dan, myself, and Keith went to Woodbridge, their whole facility, and saw their operation. So the big difference, what we're going to provide and what Woodbridge does once a week garbage pickup, and it works out fine for them. So we're going to do the twice a week at this point in time, okay? So they too have a reclaim center, they call it, recycling center, that will take ordinary household trash, and you call, once again, for bulk pickup, much like the model we're looking at. We also look to the towns in Middlesex County that utilize bags for their leaf pickup, and surprisingly, 21 out of the 25, all their leaves are picked up in bags. Most towns, it's always just been that way. It keeps their streets cleaner. Their leaves are not getting caught in the catch basins. And in some of those towns, you have to pay for them yourself, where we're going to provide them to our residents. So I'd just like to thank Dan, who's here today, and Woodbridge Township for sharing their experiences, and also other neighboring communities, South Brunswick and so on, which majority of their increase, if you read the article in the Home News today, says it's for garbage pickup. Garbage is a very expensive proposition, and it's not only the collection, it's the disposal, as the mayor alluded to. But when you put your recycling out and it's all that cardboard and it rains, and they pick it up and put it in the back of the truck, it's not only the weight of the cardboard that we're paying for to dispose of, but the weight of the water. And so likewise, even with cans, people put out cans, they dump it in. It's a water factor that gets into the street, and sometimes we get complaints from people, the garbage truck compacted, and now I got the remnants of the garbage in the street. This actually helps with that, as we discussed it with Woodbridge. So just thanks to Dan and thanks to Woodbridge Township and the neighboring communities for giving us a lot of valuable data to make this decision. That's all, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Crisculo. Our township attorney, Mr. Iacoca.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. One other item that's on the agenda tonight, Resolution 23-259. This is the carnival at St. Mary's and St. Stephen's Orthodox Church. I've, as requested, double-checked with our members of public safety and staff. Some of the concerns that came in from residents was the abundance of parking that was needed. I was informed by the clerk's office and so on that they plan to have a shuttle service from an off-site parking area to the facility.
Great.
That was the request that you had asked me the next time this came up, and they've agreed to that.
Great, that's good news.
Okay? That's all, I'm sorry.
Mr. Iacoca.
Thank you, Council President. At the last council meeting, the township approved a resolution authorizing an award of a contract and issuance of a license, a new plenary retail consumption license to EB Liquor License LLC. The New Jersey Alcohol and Beverage Control require that the township have two separate resolutions, one authorizing the contract and another issuing the license. So on tonight's agenda, there are two resolutions. One is number 23-262, which is authorizing the award of the license to EB liquor license, and the other resolution is 23-263, which authorizes the issuance of the license. If there are any questions, please feel free.
Thank you, Mr. Iacocca. Township Clerk.
I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Township Clerk, could you please read our public? I'm sorry? Beg your pardon. Does our council have any reports from committees or boards?
Shockingly, no.
You sure you had?
I'm being quiet this time.
Thank you, Mr. Lawson. Public statement? Would you please read our public comment statement?
The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. In accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the East Brunswick Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president, at his discretion, may choose to respond, not respond, or ask the administration to respond. Thank you.
Does anyone like to address the chair? Please.
Oh, pretty soon I'm going to stop coming. I'm hitting an all-time high here. My name is Constance Lanzak-Belitsky. I don't bag. I have everything in the yard. Everybody's complaining about the leaves not being picked up.
We have your address?
What?
Could we have your address?
177 Summerhill Road. I like traffic. And where are they, the ones that are complaining? Now, first of all, somebody invented a machine to pick up the leaves. What are you doing with the machine? Because the township bought it.
We own it.
Now, our almighty emperor passed a ruling, I guess, that we have, the Department of Public Works has to keep the storm drains clean. That's why they want the leaves back. So the leaves aren't in the storm drains because we have flooding. I don't know where, but we have flooding. We're supposed to save $300,000 by not picking the leaves up, but the garbage is going up 1.1 million, and then I saw a figure of 24 billion for 5 years. Is that right? For 5 years. There's a figure in here, 24 billion. I worked in a bank for 36 years. I'm very money conscious. That's why I survived. Secondly, I don't know, it's a terrible inconvenience for people to bag the leaves. So they're going to have additional expense to hire somebody to do it. Not my problem, I don't do it. Then the almighty ruler banned plastic bags, but now we're cutting trees for paper bags. Now we're giving everybody paper bags. Now we're going to pay for these garbage cans, because nothing in this world is free. Nothing. I'm 86 years old. Nothing has ever been free. And I have to bring something else up. Dunham's Corner Road, I hear they're planning on a bicycle path. That is a country road. Are you planning on buying property to widen the road? Now, if people want to ride their bike, there's 1% that ride their bike. They could go to Johnson Park, Thompson Park, Lambertville by the Delaware Water. They can go to Rocky Hill, beautiful places. Take a ride with your bike and go. I don't want to pay. I've been paying for a long time. Everybody's been paying a long time. Our economy is lower than our dump, and we're getting squeezed. Now, who has all this money for everything? And you were talking about water in the leaves. You buy a chicken and you defrost it, there's water in there. Everybody cheats. There's water in the chicken when you defrost it. Thank you for listening. You get $300 apiece for psychiatric care. Thank you. I've been around a long time and I'm not stupid. Every Sunday I go to church and I thank God I have my marbles. Because when you lose your marbles, then everybody takes over. Thank you so much.
Would anyone else like to address the chair?
Give me your addresses, I'll send you 300 apiece.
Hi, how are you? Mark Portnoy, Fort Erie Lane, not far from Summerhill. So the primary reason why I'm here, obviously, is the leaves. Loose leaf pickups, I understand garbage must be picked up, you guys have no bidders, but shifting the cost of, and pretty much collecting the leaves. I lived in East Brunswick for many years. I have probably, like, if I start collecting maybe 100 bales of leaves, is that even possible? So hiring somebody, I'm pretty sure, based on my estimates, is from $700 to $1,000 per house. So you guys basically shifting the cost. Major complaint from me, I usually don't come. This is something I want you guys to consider before you pull the trigger. That's it, thank you.
Anyone else like to address the chair?
Hi, everybody. My name is Ilya Rosentuler. I live at 11 Pitt Road, next to Memorial School. My property surrounded by a number of township trees. These township-owned trees. I have mature oak trees. I have mature elm trees around my property. And because of the way the wind blows, about 1/3 to half of the leaves from those trees end up on my lawn. So I've been cleaning it for a while, but as I get older, my back is not good anymore. So it's very hard for me to bend over in order to pick up those leaves. So what I've been doing, I was blowing those leaves on the street, creating nice pile, so township can do their share, come and pick up those leaves, which, by the way, coming from township trees. Now with this cancellation, I will have very hard time dealing with this. So cleanup in my area, cleanup of the leaves of property of my size runs about $1,000 per cleanup. I ask my landscapers. So I have to do multiple of those. So we're talking about probably $3,000 per season. I pick up about 20 to 25 bags a week from my property at the height of the season. So I also wanted to just try to see who else will be affected by that. So the trees which produce the most amount of leaves are mature trees, which tend to be in the areas, all the areas of the township. So those areas usually homeowners there are older folks on fixed incomes. And so these are the people which are disproportionately will be affected by that change. So basically shifting cost to these people. What are the options to deal with it in case of cancellation? One, pay landscapers is not a good choice for me. Second, do nothing, just leave those leaves on the lawn. It will kill my lawn. Leaves will be still flying on the road, but at least my back will be fine. Three, cut the trees. That seems to be like most cost-effective solution, right? So I don't know how, but convince somebody to cut those trees, maybe hire my own contractors and cut township trees to lessen amount of leaves which they produce. And three, just move to my chiropractor's office, for the season. So I was also trying to see who would be the main beneficiaries of that. According to the mayor, apparently it's Department of Public Works who will have to do less work now, not more, right? So we're looking at $300,000 of savings. Are we gonna fire any of those folks because we don't need them anymore? They're gonna have much less work? Probably not. I don't see that happening. So on one hand, we have Department of Public Works, which will be beneficiaries of this cancellation. On the other hand, we have, older population who, have bad back, like me, who have to basically pick that up and somehow deal with this. I don't think it's fair. So what are the solutions to, continue with this service? Possible solutions are hire seasonal help, not increase size of DPW, but instead just hire seasonal help. It's not going to cost that much because it's seasonal. You don't have to provide pensions and anything else. I'm sure there are some, attorney would tell you there are some reasons not to do that, but I'm sure where is the will, there is a way. The other option would be to come up with some advanced machinery. Maybe there is something which can improve collection of those leaves. The other thing which I want to mention is that lately I see administration taking only one route for any issue we encounter, actually two: raising the price for service or canceling service outright. Sometimes it's a combination of both. We're not bringing in enough revenue, and that becomes our problem. We're building rentals with pilot program, which don't send money over to schools. But we're going to have kids going to school. Thus, our taxes will go higher, but administration will have, way to say that it's not us raising the taxes, it's the schools. So I don't understand how we can continue this way. We need to be bringing businesses, maybe with that pilot program, which allows us to improve our infrastructure, and that will help us with this situation with leaves.
That's
And
5 minutes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the chair?
Evening. Steve Bezeski, 17 Academic Road. Just looking at an option in regards to sizes of families right now and different variables in this township right now. Sizes of families, I'm looking at that rather big garbage can, you are correct. Twice a week kind of made me feel a little bit better sitting there. However, the option of getting 2 garbage cans down the road, or highly think about it. I am a family of 3, and I put out 4 cans during this season consistently because I am the landscaper in my house. That there, plain and simple, living behind the high school with mature trees and the landscaping that I do to keep my house beautiful, I'm easily, just my beach grass alone will fill that easy. So when I look at, and the garbage men people are incredible to me because maybe sometimes I put out more than 5 things and they still take that gladly. However, I'm looking at that and saying, hey, you know what? 80% of the time, I can probably fill that with 1. But right now, in front of my house for garbage night, tonight, for tomorrow, I have 3 garbage cans and 2 bags of grass. Easily will fill that. And that's not even taking everything down during the season in regards to my landscaping. And that's just me personally. I'm giving you a variable there, right? So then I also look at, as Mayor said, hey, take it to the recycling center. That's all well and good. I don't have a work truck. I have a RAV4, and I don't want it to smell like garbage, like grass, like anything like that, because I can't bring it right at that second where, hey, after 2 days of grass in a bag, it stinks. So the option, and then the gentleman, Joseph, I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher your name, I apologize, said, down the road, maybe, depending, I'm not looking for that 1 garbage pickup or 2 to turn into 1, and now I'm really in a bind. Me personally, I'm talking about. And that's a lot of families here. Because again, family of 3, not a family of 5, a family of 6, that produce a lot of garbage. That as much as I've had friends in Old Bridge and Woodbridge, these things, they're not full. and the lid's open and water's still getting in. So I do like the option that's not even on the table of having two bins. Two bins don't have to go out, but when you need it, and if you have to put it on the taxpayer, I'm not saying anything, I'm not happy if I have to buy it, but I would be, me personally, I'd be willing to buy two bins in regards to that scenario. As for the leaves in the street, you know, I can't afford a landscaper, that's why I do it. And also, it's cathartic. But making, and I do everything properly, putting it in, safety, pushing it. The leaves don't blow around that much once they get water on them or whatever. It's just, that just turned my whole weekend, that turned a one-day job into my whole weekend doing leaves alone. And again, 1 minute left. It's all good, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm just saying, think about that. Again, state rules, this, that, DEP, all the other word letters you use, whatever it might be. However, if, have a good day.
Anyone else wish to speak to the chair?
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Saveli Korash. I reside at 3 Yale Court. My issue is, again, with, and I agree with the folks before me, with leaf collection, okay? A lot of the people in the cul-de-sac that I live in, there are some elderly folks that cannot possibly bag the leaves they do. They have they have landscapers that come out, cut their leaves, collect the leaves, and put it on the shoulder by the road. I completely agree with this, with the situation where a car can ignite some leaves. That's true, and that is the police department's job essentially. If they see it as a violation, then it'd be a violation that will encourage the population of this township to store them properly off the road. However, completely removing them from being able to accumulate them somewhere to be picked up is just going to be overly burdensome for quite a few folks. Additionally, when you're talking about bagging into the paper bags, though part of the collection of the leaves includes some of the branches that have fallen off, as we all know they do, just like after the storm that just went through. Those branches will tear those bags. How many bags are we going to go through? And what do we do with the bags that are torn? We're going to recycle them? Do we throw them out? There are a number of questions that still arise from this type of limitation. Additionally, going from 2 day to 1 2-day combination to 2 days is obviously a higher cost because that would require, as the mayor said, more people to work with it, even with the new garbage cans and less per truck employees. Okay? The savings there, I just don't see how they can say that having it twice a week for the entire year is cheaper than having it twice a year for one. I mean, it just doesn't make sense mathematically. So my question is, please reconsider the leaf collection situation. It's just not going to fit the township the way it's supposed to. And we all know that in another year or two, it's going to go from 2 days to 1 day, so we're going to lose that savings anyway. So please address this with responsibility. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to address the chair? Sir.
Tom Ingrasani, 58 Deerfield Road. Let's not forget 9/11. I remember it well. When is the garbage pickup supposed to start? In January? Okay. And the leaf pickup starts January also with the bags?
Address it here, Mr.
Okay.
Yes.
With the bags starts in January? Yes. My leaves are starting to fall now. What do we do with them? It's, what I used to do, I used to get tarp, used to roll it on the top of my backyard, 2 people drag it out, throw it in the thing. Now I got to bag it myself. It's much harder. If this is going to start in January, what do you do with the leaves in the meantime? And who picks up the leaves? The township like they used to?
Until January. We're going to still take the loose leaves this year
In the street?
in the street. Next year, it's all bagged.
Okay, no, so
Okay.
next year, okay. What happens in the leaves in the street that fall in the street? Who's responsible for that?
Go with the common sense, halfway across the street, one half is yours, just like when PSE&G paves, if that happens.
All right.
And Mr. Ingrasani, this is not question and answer period. This is just a commentary period.
Oh,
for
okay.
you, if you want to get into.
All right, so it starts in January, the leaves pick up, you're allowed to put in the street as of now. Okay, that's what I want to know. And the other thing was, in central school, I'm going to bring it up again. It's hard to get into the school system without people cutting you off in the right, and you have to go into the right. That's a shoulder, they call it.
Right.
Can't we put a sign up there, school use only? I think it helps solve the problem of cars going in all the time.
Again, you're going to have to hit a Board of Ed meeting.
It's a Board of Ed problem?
This is the Board of Ed issue, yes.
Okay, all right, I thought it was done. All right, thank you very much.
Anyone else want to address the chair?
Yeah, hi, Wilbur Pan, 223 Milltown Road. Just had a quick question on the budget for the garbage pickup. If I understand this correctly, it's over a 5-year period from 24 to 28, correct? Is there a reason why each year's budget is structured so that there's a 7% increase over that, year over year over that period of time, as opposed to just making it the same amount every 5 years, or over the 5-year period?
Specify that question again.
Sure.
Mr. Pan.
Let me just pull out some notes. Oops.
Why?
When I was looking at the budget, which was in the agenda, in 2024, the budget for garbage pickup is $3.1 million. 2025, that goes up to 3.36. 2026, it comes up to 3.6 million. 2027 is 3.85, 2028 is 4.1. Now, if I understand, I did some math, and I think I understand where that the 1.1 million increase that the mayor referred to is spread over that period of time. That's not what I'm questioning. What I'm questioning is why isn't the total amount for the 5-year period split up evenly over the 5 years as opposed to making it an increasing
Choose
in the
to
budget?
address this?
That's traditionally how.
I can have Mr. Pan make a phone call to your
It's
office.
traditionally how all the 5-year contracts are done. It's built in with a cost of increase each year. That's what the last 5-year contract did, and the 5-year contract before that. So each year, there's a built-in increase. In many towns that have had similar type of bids, they've seen 50 to 100% increases over the course of the 5-year period of time. 7% per year for us, not that we would be happy with any increase, I'd love it to be flat, but comparatively, for contracts in the industry is actually relatively good.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else wish to address the chair? If not, we'll close that section. Move over to our consent agenda, and if you don't mind, fellow councilmen and women. Where is- Not one to pull, you know that, but I do need a separation for Resolution 23-257. Does anyone need anything else separated? Okay, can I have a motion for Resolutions 23-50 through 23-256, continuing with Resolution 23-258 through Resolution 23-267? Second?
Second.
Is there any need for discussion on any of those items? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilman Wendell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dembicki. And and Council President McAvoy.
Yes. Get a resolution for Resolution 23-257.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
This is, I'm going to turn to Mr. Iacoca in a moment, but this is something new that is facing our community, the Do Portugal Circus. And there were a series of questions that popped up over the course of the past week that I've had the agenda in my hand, and none of which was in a positive light. Therefore, Mr. Iacoca, can you clarify some of the things that have been talked about?
Yes, thank you, Council President. The Director of Planning and Engineering and Police Chief had an opportunity to review the application and weigh in. The Director of Planning and Engineering recommends against approving the application for a circus permit for the following reasons. Number one, a mall parking lot is not designed to handle a large gathering in an open space. There are no permanent fencing at the site. There's not sufficient parking for the circus trailers, equipment, their staff. It would adversely impact the parking at the mall to the detriment of patrons and business owners. In addition, the police chief recommends against approving the application for a circus permit for similar reasons and more. A mall parking lot is not suitable to handle a large gathering in open space, as there's no permanent fencing. In addition, the security services required for this event would put a strain on the township's police and emergency medical services. Further, no operations manual was provided by the applicant, so the township does not know the nature and scope of the circus operations. And as we have seen in prior events, a large gathering in an open space is very difficult to secure and control from a public safety standpoint. So for these reasons, it is recommended that the governing body vote against approving the application. Thank you.
You did mention the previous two engagements in the mall parking lot and the lead gathering and then the empanada gathering. I do believe it was at the, if I'm pronouncing that right, lead or lead. We did have a 9mm gun discharged, and we also had, to my knowledge, 4 adult fights that required our regular police officers to break up. So this has set a tone that events of this nature in the parking lot of the mall don't sit well with this governing body. Well, I'll say, we haven't voted yet, but this representative of your community. And is there anything that anyone else would like to share? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Oh, no.
Councilman Wendell?
No.
Councilwoman Winston?
No.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
No.
And Council President McAvoy.
No. We have an ordinance that is being introduced for the first time. And we'll have a scheduled public hearing date of Thursday, September 28th. Ordinance 23-26. Township Clerk, will you please read?
A bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of solid waste and recycling containers in and by the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $2,880,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,736,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
We have a motion for this?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion needed?
I think we discussed it enough.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes.
Thank you.
For the good of the cause. Oh, I beg your pardon, Mr. Criscuolo?
Yeah, I just want to remind the council, as the clerk just said, the next council meeting was originally scheduled on Tuesday, I believe the 26th. We have a conflict with the room, so that will be moved to Thursday because Tuesday there's court and there's trials already set. Wednesday there's planning board, so that meeting will actually be on Thursday of that week. So that's why when Tamara announced the ordinance, she said Thursday, the 28th. Just want to make sure everybody was
Thank you, Mr.
knowledgeable of that.
Back to the good of the cause. Mayor Cohn.
Just again, wanted to recognize that this is 9/11, and we do have a monument in the municipal park that commemorates or memorializes the 8 members of our community that were lost that day. So I would hope that if you're already out here, that you might just take a walk past that on this solemn reminder of how fragile democracy could be, and pay your respects. And so thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mayor Cohn. Okay, adjournment. Do I have an aye?